welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, February 25th, 2019. I am Investor Bowens with the details. Invest SVG has kick-started its program for the largest exposition to be held in SVG, the Everything Vincy Expo Plus 2019, which was launched last Friday evening at the Maurice Heights Hotel. As we hear in this report from Larissa Pugsley-Kidd, the early start is due to additional initiatives being undertaken, including private funding to promote local businesses and to enhance their export potential.
Works by Invest SVG have commenced for the hosting of its second Trade Expo in October. However, on the 3rd and 4th of July, the carnival exhibition dubbed the Food, Rum, Art and Music will be showcased at Heritage Square. Speaking at the media launch of Everything Vincy Expo Plus 2019 last Friday, Executive Director of Invest SVG, Annette Mark, announced that Angel Investments is working with her team to source funding for micro, small and medium enterprises.
Invest SVG will also soon announce the process for taking advantage of accessing private finance through the Angel Investor Program and the conditions for profiling MSMEs.
This year, Invest SVG's target is to have 125 businesses exhibit products. Of this figure, 100 should be local exhibitors. Mark noted that this year they will close off application deadlines early than last year.
From the 27th of February 2019. Please go to our website at www.everythingvincy.com to download your application forms or come into our office to collect your application forms on the 2nd floor of the administrative building in Kingstown. Very importantly, applications will be closed on the 30th of April 2019. This is to allow for the profiling of exhibitors in order to properly fit buyers to businesses.
Caribbean Export Development Agency is working closely with Invest SVG to ensure the Trade Expo meets the desired results for exhibitors. Also speaking at the media launch was Minister of Finance Camilo Gonzalez, who asked that businesses that get involved think of the regional and international markets for their products, as there is much to be derived for such markets.
Understand that their competitor is not the business down the hall from them or down the street from them, but their competitor could be in somebody in Antigua or Jamaica or China. And we think and we are confident that you are more than able to surpass those products, and we think that you are more than able to put St. Vincent and the Grenadines on the map.
Gonzalez said that he is positive that funding will be granted with the linkages made by Invest SVG.
She didn't say that she's a member of the Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee body, and she will have a key role in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union in getting money, getting credit into the hands of small businesses and producers here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and she's doing a lot of hard work to establish that.
This year's expo will be for 1 week, October 25 to the 31st, 2019. It will coincide with SVG's 40th independence celebration. Each night, persons will be entertained through various art forms. The expo will again be held at the Geest Shed Terminal. Last year, there were 125 participants, which included businesses from the region. It was deemed a success, attracting approximately 2,000 persons daily. Reporting for SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
Meanwhile, Caribbean Export Development Agency CEDA has been meeting with Invest SVG to strategize and plan for Everything Vincy Expo Plus 2019. Representative of CEDA, Demi Sinanan, announced at Friday's media launch that they will be bringing 20 buyers to this year's exposition, and some selected local businesses will be afforded the opportunity to market their products to these buyers.
We are pledging our support to bring a contingent of about at least 20 buyers to the show next year, and these buyers will be vetted and qualified. So it's important, as Annette rightly said, that we have our exhibitors on board early, that way we can profile them and identify the right buyers. We will continue to work with our good friends from Invest FCG to bring further interventions to St. Vincent, such as the aforementioned Angel Investment Program, as well as some additional projects that we have in the pipeline. Caribbean Export is proud to continue to work with Invest FCG on getting the job done in 2019.
CNN said that CEDA applauds Invest SVG for the work carried out thus far with the Vincy Expo, and that they will be providing technical assistance and training for businesses who show interest in further developing their products.
If a business needs funding, we try to provide support in that way, improved access to training and market opportunities, and more comprehensive trade and business intelligence to help them make more informed decisions when exporting. Under the 10 TDF, we assisted over 6,300 firms in growing and expanding their markets, and we also learned valuable lessons on how to better improve our service delivery.
Invest SVG's Executive Director, Annette Mark, is encouraging all business operators and entrepreneurs to grasp the opportunities early to get on board with this year's Expo 2019.
Most of the week while we strategize and discuss plans for everything Vincy and other projects to be supported by CEDA. The team at Invest SVG is excited about working with CEDA and about what we have to offer the business community this year as we do our part to contribute to the economic landscape of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we will in due course speak about these projects.
Invest SVG is also making arrangements for SVG's participation in Dubai's World Expo in 2020 as they seek to expand the scope of local entrepreneurs. The UWI Open Campus SVG continues to expand its services to better serve and educate Vincentians. So says head of the local Open Campus site, Deborah Dalrymple, as she spoke at the 2019 recognition ceremony for some 35 graduates last Friday at the Methodist Church Hall. Dalrymple said 2018 was a special year as the university celebrated 70 years of service to the region and was ranked in the top 5% of universities worldwide by Times Higher Education for the first time. Dalrymple said it is hoped that 2019 can bring more reasons to celebrate as the university upgrades its infrastructure.
This is a time of much anticipation for us at Open Campus in Vincent. As the community knows, our site is undergoing major renovation and expansion of the physical plant. I know that many of you are looking forward to its completion because, after all, it is our campus. We anticipate that we will be operating at our site for the 2019-2020 academic year. I hope this is not aspirational, as our Prime Minister would say, but that we would move in. This would prove to be a vast improvement in service delivery. The new building will provide for expanded classrooms, library, computer laboratory, video conferencing, and office space. The facility would boast student-friendly spaces, such as a student lounge and a recreational and study area for children, who very often have to accompany their parents to the site.
Dalrymple said the Open Campus continues to increase the number of programs it has available for Vincentians. She said the steady increase in enrollment of local students show the level of trust Vincentians have in the institution.
In addition to the suite of online programs, which include certificates, diplomas, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees, we can offer an increasing number of continuing professional education programs and workshops. Our site has been privileged to witness over the years an increase in student enrollment. During the 2018-2019 academic year in semester 1, students enrolled in Senate-approved programs, which are online, numbered 459, while continuing professional education programs had an enrollment of 125, a total of 584 students. And trust me, we worked very hard to break through that 500 barrier. This semester, 448 students are enrolled in the online programs, with 102 in continuing professional education programs, a total of 550. We acknowledge and appreciate the continued confidence of Vincentians in the UWI.
Meanwhile, Director of the Open Campus Countrysides, Dr. Francis Severin, encouraged the graduates to use their education to build a safe and more inclusive society.
Then, as tiny populations, we have to live in harmony. We have to work for the greater good, and we cannot exclude or alienate anyone because of political, religious, and socio-economic prejudices. In short, we have to build inclusive societies. What will your legacy be? Will you be able to confidently tell your children and grandchildren that you truly used your education for the good of St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Or did you use it to advance a narrow, selfish, and personal agenda, which included ensuring that those who were different from you, in whichever way you define this, could not advance? In that regard, how do you relate to your colleagues at work? How do you relate to your fellow citizens? How do you relate to your supervisors? How do you relate to your subordinates? You need to reflect on these, bearing in mind that one of the worst sins you could unleash upon yourselves is to lie to yourselves.
Vincentian men are being encouraged to take up leadership roles in their families, churches, and communities. The encouragement comes from two overseas-based Christian leadership speakers who are here in SVG for a leadership conference. Reverend John Lewis, a Vincentian and president of the Grenada Institute for Theological Education, will be one of the facilitators at the conference. In an interview with SVG-TV News today, he said that while the conference is open to both men and women, he would love to see more men come forward to learn from the 2-hour session so that they can become better leaders in their homes.
Most of our families are headed by women in the Caribbean and other parts of the world, I'm sure. And so our challenge is to encourage our men to participate in the leadership and the responsibility, because that's how we were designed, to provide leadership in our homes, in the community, in the nation as a whole. And so there are opportunities for men to interact. As a matter of fact, a number of men are already signed up for the program, and we encourage other men across the island to become involved. We learn skills of how to be a role model as a leader. We'll talk about your own issues of integrity, and we'll talk about honing your own leadership skills, how you manage your time. That's an issue that we will cover.
The conference, which started last evening at Camden Park, is organized by the Wesleyan Holiness Church. Reverend Shakika Fraser, District Superintendent of the Wesleyan Holiness Church, said the conference is timely and necessary.
That are designed to enhance the leadership within St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We would all agree that there are some deficiencies. Wherever you go, you'd find deficiencies within leadership. And also we realize that there is a particular gap between, leadership, aging leadership and emerging leadership. So we want to enhance that. We want to harness the gifts that God has given unto those persons who are being placed in leadership positions.
President of the Overseas Services International, Dr. Rich Fraser, is another overseas facilitator who said that everyone has a vision and a desire to manifest themselves as leaders. But due to negative factors, this cannot materialize, which will be addressed during the leadership conference.
We believe that every person has some sense inside them. You call it vision, call it a dream, call it whatever you want, but there's a sense of destiny, that I believe, if I could close my eyes and become what I see when I close my eyes, then I want to become that. I believe that's a fairly good description of what vision is. It's what we see, it's our best us. And I would say, when I think of vision for myself, I see my best me, doing my best work, benefiting the most amount of people, and feeling this sense of fulfillment, like this is what I'm made for, and all that for the glory of God. And I believe that every person has some sort of sense in them that this is what I want to become.
The various components of Vincy Mas must lead from the front if the Vincy Mas product is to become undoubtedly the hottest carnival in the Caribbean. So said Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture Cecil Mackey as he spoke at the media launch of Vincy Mas 2019, hosted last Saturday evening by the Carnival Development Corporation at the cruise ship terminal. Minister Mackey said while much has been achieved, there is still more to be done. He said representatives of the various components, including mast, steel pan, Calypso and the rural events must be at the fore to identify areas which can be improved. The minister used the steel pan art form to illustrate his point.
You have to lead in terms of identifying what we need to get done and how we can get it done. Do we have, for example, enough pan tuners in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? And I'm sure the answer to that will be no. So how do we go about identifying, first of all, persons who can become pan tuners? And how do we get them trained and qualified to take up that responsibility here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? We know that pans are expensive to produce. What can we do to start identifying a source for getting pans, getting those pans to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and start producing our own pans and orchestras right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
The Tourism and Culture Minister said a regional report indicated that countries such as SVG often do well in areas such as cruise arrivals and services, but are weak in terms of items for sale. He said as such, one must get the youth involved to capture moments which are unique to SVG, which can translate to more unique Vincentian products.
Now have two creative coordinators in Rodney Small and Bomani Charles, full of youth and energy and vigor. Let us get them engaged in achieving this. So, for the rural carnivals and for the national festival, let us get the young people out there in the communities, ask them to capture the culture and the identity of these various communities and of the national festivals, so that we can have that available for sale as well as we also do the material, the smaller material that we'd also have available for sale. Once we engage all of these aspects for 2019, going forward to 2020 and beyond, Vincy Mas can step up from being the hottest carnival in the Caribbean to undoubtedly the hottest carnival in the Caribbean.
Chairman of the Carnival Development Corporation, Ricardo Adams, said local soca artists, producers, arrangers, engineers, animators, and videographers have been making a name for themselves regionally and internationally. He said this is proof that there is a wealth of opportunity for many Vincentians in the creative arts.
And of course, everybody knows about the Vincy family. And I just want to make special mention of what Skinny Fabulous has done this year with the Song family. For those of you who don't know, and there are probably very few of you who don't, Family is the front runner for the Road March in Trinidad this year. Family was written by Skinny Fabulous. It was mastered by Parry Jack Studios, which is a Vincentian also. And the animation video was done by Precisely Films, which is also a Vincentian entity. And it really excites me that we have gone beyond just writing a song or singing a song. We can now get involved in the actual production, we can get involved in the videography, etc. So I want to challenge those of you who perhaps not soca artists to think outside the box and see how you can also get in on the wave that is the creative cultural industry of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Also at last Saturday's media launch at the cruise ship terminal, the 6 young ladies who will be vying for this year's Miss SVG title were sashed by their sponsors. SVG-TV's Barvin Oliver was there and files this report.
Ladies who will be competing in this year's Miss SVG pageant received their sash from their sponsors at last Saturday's media launch. It was their first appearance as contestants in the pageant. Sonia Delicia, Megan Graves, Sylvan Lavia, Kersha Modeste, Sherika Rodney, and Felica Thomas all graced the stage as they passed their first hurdle before the major event. The contestants wasted no time and showed off their poise as they were sashed by a representative of their sponsors.
and gentlemen, Miss Flo, Sonia Delicia. Ladies and gentlemen, contestant number 2, Miss Vincentian Chocolate, Megan Grave. Ladies and gentlemen, contestant number 3, Miss Metrocent General Insurance Company Limited, Sylvain Lavia. And Kersha Modeste is being sponsored by Lotto. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lotto, Kersha Modeste. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Musty Company Limited, Sharika Rodney. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Massey Stores, SVG Limited, Felika Thomas.
Coordinator of the CDC's Beauty Shows Committee, LaFern Fraser, said the Miss SVG pageant has been transformed from a beauty show to a pageant dedicated to women empowerment. She took the opportunity to thank all those who continue to contribute to the success of the pageant over the years.
We've had the honor of working with 3 different companies. All 3 have been enthusiastic about supporting us on this mission to empower through our Women Who Empower. Thank you very much to the companies who have worked with us thus far, and especially to the sponsors this year, which include, of course, the sponsors of our delegates in Miss SVG 2019.
Miss SVG is one of the most anticipated events on the Vincy Mas calendar and will take place on Saturday, June 1st. For SVG-TV Evening News, I am Marvin Oliver.
The National Secondary School Band Showcase 2019 was launched today. The launching event also saw several pieces of instruments handed over to the students who will be taking part in the showcase, to be hosted by the St. Vincent Teachers Credit Union, the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture, and the Ministry of Education. Approximately 18 secondary schools will be taking part, with 2 bands from the community college who have also showed interest in being part of the event, to be held on the 23rd of March at the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Tarmac. A workshop will be held on the 9th of March to prepare students for the event. Addressing today's launching event, Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture Cecile Sesmaki told the participants that the future is theirs to create and achieve. Minister Maki said because of the success of last year, it has increased the number of participants for this year's showcase, and he encourages the students to take the event seriously.
We started this journey in 2018 because we saw a lack of continuity where musicians in St. Vincent and the Grenadines were concerned. We saw that for Carnival, we scrambled to put together music bands, and then after Carnival, they fell away. And we virtually saw the same musicians appearing time and time again. And that immediately allowed us to see red in terms of the future of music and entertainment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Not that seeing red is a bad thing, but when you see a red flag being flown, you know that that represents danger. So we decided to do some collaboration.
Minister Maki said he is confident that the school's band's showcase will grow to be one of the major events in St. Vincent, and he told the students to let the veteran band players and singers be their aspiration.
You can become the next Plumie or Ike in terms of playing bass in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And these are some of the big names of yesterday, well, in my time. There would have been others just before, but I would allow somebody a little older than me to make those references. But Ike and Plumie stand out in terms of basement, across the bands in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On the drums, you can become another BT or Mr. Big. Both of them still around. So you can draw on them in terms of experience of good drum players in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Godfrey is still with us. You can draw from his expertise in terms of being a good guitar player. What about the wind instruments? We have Shakeen that led the way many years ago. We had my brother Young, who also led the way, both of them gone to the great beyond. We have the McIntosh brothers, some of them still around, who are outstanding.
Minister Mackey said that there is a great challenge of music teachers in the school system and that measures would be put in place to solve this problem.
I mentioned the lament of the Ministry of Education in terms of the challenges with music teachers in the various schools. I suspect that that might be the reason why 9 of the schools are not already on board. So we'll have to, in a focused way, in 2019, begin to address that challenge. Some of the music teachers might be close to retirement age. Some overworked. And I see Parry down there nodding his head with a serious face. So we need to have more music teachers available to us. And we need to have them in the schools, and we need to have them carrying out the curriculum where music is concerned. No support for that?
Teacher of the Intermediate High School, Darren Oliver, and a student from the Bethel High School, Jabez Matthews, both shared how the National Band Showcase have impacted their lives and others who took part.
Training sessions that were held ahead of the main event, to the transportation logistics that were put in place, the sponsorship support that helped the bands to be uniformed. In my case, it was the national lotteries, right up to the performance of every band on the night took on a high-level professional approach and a professional touch. And that afforded our students the opportunity to see much of what goes on in the music business and what it takes to pull off such an event. My students were very happy to perform. They went out and truly had fun. They were so enthusiastic. They were
in a very great way. It has helped me to become a better performer. It has helped me to do something that I really, really love. And last year, when the organizers came to the school and said they want to put on this showcase, believe me, I was excited.